Welcome to the Freak Show, fellow freaks.
I am Matthew Brockmeyer.
And I'm Christa Carmen.
And as always, you are listening to
Murder Coaster.
The minds of teenagers are strange things. Brimming with hormones, the adolescent brain is still developing, especially the prefrontal cortex, which controls judgment, planning, and self-control. And at the same time, the amygdala and reward systems are highly active, making emotions stronger and more intense. This imbalance means teens are more likely to act on impulse, seek excitement, and focus on immediate rewards rather than long-term consequences. And because of this, something like throwing a big party can feel incredibly appealing. It offers excitement, social approval, and stimulation, even if the risks aren't fully considered. But what kind of teenager would go so far as to brutally murder their parents just to have a party? Well, ladies and gentlemen, today we'll find out as we present to you the story of family annihilator Tyler Hadley, the house party killer.
Let's begin. Prologue. This is my house now. It was Saturday night, July 16th, 2011, in Port St. Lucie, Florida, and 17-year-old Tyler Hadley was throwing a party at his parents' house on 371 Northeast Granger Avenue.
It wasn't until midnight that the party got rockin', really rockin'. The house packed, over 100 people, including all the cool kids he normally didn't associate with, the jocks, cheerleaders, hot girls, and skaters. It was a full-on bona fide rager. Music blaring, beer pong in effect, clouds of weed and cigarette smoke, hits of ecstasy making the rounds.
Tyler's best friend, Michael Mandel, was impressed, though Tyler himself seemed oddly mopey, especially for someone high on ecstasy, sitting by himself in the bedroom, smoking weed, walking around with an impassive and bored look on his face.
Michael wondered what was up with his friend. After all, this was the high school dream, having the legendary big party when your parents went out of town that elevated your status and made you one of the cool kids, immortalized in movies like 16 Candles, where the nerd hooks up with the gorgeous popular girl, and Superbad, American Pie, and House Party. Then, Tyler, who had been going around coldly exclaiming, "This is my house now," pulled his best friend aside.
At 6'1", Tyler was hulking next to his childhood friend. He'd always been on the heavy side, a bit roly-poly, but he'd recently lost a dramatic amount of weight and was looking very thin, his cheeks hollow, his face gaunt. He was wearing a black t-shirt with a black sports coat over it, the formal but casual look Tom Cruise had immortalized in his teen party movie Risky Business back in the 80s.
Michael said to his friend,
"Sweet party, bro. What's up?"
"I killed my parents."
"No, you didn't."
"Michael, I'm being real. I'm not lying to you. Look in the driveway. Both their cars are there.
Michael just blew his friend off, thinking his parents must have taken a taxi to the airport or rented a car. Tyler was always joking about killing his parents to have a party. It was an old bit. Now it was just more of the same, right? I mean, who would kill their parents just to have a party? That's just crazy.
But Tyler wouldn't let it drop, telling his friend, look for the signs everyone else missed. The bloody shoe prints. Look at the blood on the bedroom door, man, on the walls, on the ceiling.
Michael began to look around, working his way through the crowd of rowdy teenagers. There were weird signs. All the photographs on the wall had been taken down, which was strange, but he thought maybe Tyler had done that so they wouldn't be damaged. His parents' bedroom door, which was locked, did have brown stains on it and a dark streak underneath it. Then he looked at the family computer, set up in the living room, where kids were using it to play music on YouTube. The keyboard looked doused in congealed brownish liquid. Could that be dried blood? And there were brown splatter marks on the walls.
Michael knew the layout of the house and knew there was an outside door to the parents' bedroom out back, and went there. It was unlocked, but something was jammed up against it. He managed to push the door open enough to peer inside, using his cell phone as a flashlight. And beneath a mountain of clothes and furniture that had been piled up, he saw a large man's leg, covered in blood, poking out.
Michael then met up with Tyler in the garage, stating, "It's true. You really murdered your parents."
Yup, Tyler stated, then telling him in cold detail how he'd hidden their phones so they couldn't call for help, then eaten 3 hits of ecstasy and listened to rapper Lil Boozy to psych himself up before bashing their heads in with the claw end of a framing hammer. Afterwards, he'd use their bank cards to steal $5,000 to buy booze and drugs for the party.
Michael simply replied, "I guess I won't be seeing you for a while. I should take a picture."
So Michael held out his cell phone and snapped a selfie with his murderous friend, the two stone-faced, Tyler in his sleek black sports coat over a black t-shirt, a la Tom Cruise in Risky Business, holding up an orange Solo cup, a photograph that would come to haunt Michael and go around the world.
Tyler had a bag of Percocet and said that after the party he was going to swallow them all and kill himself. Poof, he said, no prison. But Michael was able to covertly pull the bag from the back pocket and hide them.
Michael told his friend Jesse Durea that Tyler had killed his parents, and Jesse, wisely, immediately left the party.
Michael then told his friend Dustin Turner, taking him to the back door of the bedroom and showing him where Tyler's father's leg protruded from where he was buried beneath a mound of books, towels, and furniture. Dustin stating,
"Dude, I was never here,"
before bolting.
Later that night, after the party was long over, Michael would call a Crime Stoppers tip line, leaving a message that this was no joke, no prank, but that Tyler Hadley had murdered his parents.
Then there was a call from Jesse's girlfriend, Maggie, to 911.
911, what's your emergency?
Someone had a party tonight, and someone said this kid had killed their parents. And I don't think they were playing about it. So you guys want to go by and check.
Then Jesse got on the phone. "Yeah, I was at a party with one of my buddies. He said his parents went out of town, so he was throwing a party. And I'm like at the party, and we're all hanging out and everything's cool. And a mutual friend told me the gist of it, that he did something to his parents. I'm like, bro, I don't want to know anything. But my understanding of it was he killed them. The bodies are supposed to be in the house. And I'm really scared and confused, I don't think they're joking about it. I think he has mental issues and he needs help.
Police pulled up to the house, and through the window they could see Tyler inside, a bizarre look on his face, pacing and talking to himself, going to a bookshelf and bringing armfuls of books to the back bedroom and throwing them inside.
When they rang the doorbell, Tyler turned all the lights off. But after they persisted in knocking, he eventually answered, acting weird as hell, freaking the cops out to the point that they ordered him to get on the ground and they handcuffed him.
When they asked him where his parents were, he said they were in West Palm Beach.
When officers entered the house, he yelled, "You can't go in there! Don't go in there!"
In they went. The place was trashed from the party. Cigarette butts everywhere, empty cups, beer bottles, food scraps, dirty plates.
They came across the locked door of Tyler's parents' bedroom, where he'd been throwing the armfuls of books. Noting the bloodstains, they asked him for a key.
Tyler just mumbled that he'd be going to Rock Road, which was what they called the local jail.
Officers forced open the door to discover a bizarre mess inside. A jumbled pile of furniture, framed pictures, books, towels, dolls, clothes, magazines, papers. Beneath it all, the bodies of Tyler's parents. Their caved-in heads, wrapped in towels, and the murder weapon, a 22-inch framing hammer, lying between them. Investigators wondered who'd have a party after killing their parents. Then, going over his Facebook posts, realized he'd planned the party and started inviting his friends long before killing his parents.
Tyler Hadley had murdered his parents so he could have a party in their house.
The story went out across the world. CNN, NBC, BBC, The Today Show, even Howard Stern was talking about it. And on headline news, Nancy Grace bellowed into the camera.
Tonight, a teen throws the party of a lifetime, inviting scores of friends by Facebook to a party at his place. Only 2 people don't show up. His mom and dad. They were locked in the bedroom, dead.
And the world wondered, who was this strange kid who'd kill his parents to have a party?
Chapter 1. Little Tyler.
Tyler J. Hadley was born on December 16th, 1993, to loving parents, Blake and Mary Jo. He had a brother named Ryan, 6 years older than him, and a head full of hair so blonde it was white, though it would soon fade to light brown.
Tyler's father, Blake, grew up in Fort Lauderdale. He was a large man, 6'4" and over 300 pounds, but he was known as a kind-hearted giant, a silly jokester, always smiling, and worked at the Florida Power and Light Company.
Tyler's mother, Mary Jo, was from Braddock, Pennsylvania, her family moving to Fort Lauderdale when she was in high school. And it was there she met Blake, the two falling in love, it being said because they both had very wry senses of humor. They were a bit of an odd couple, as he was huge and she was petite. She was dark-complected and he very fair-skinned.
They were both extremely Catholic. Mary Jo so much that she had the dress she'd worn as a baby at her baptism framed and hung on the wall. Later, Tyler would take it down and throw it atop her corpse after he caved her head in with a hammer.
When they got married, he wore a powder blue suit. Maurice Hadley, Blake's father, said Mary Jo was the best daughter-in-law he could have ever imagined.
When Blake's parents retired, they moved to St. Port Lucie. So in order to be closer to them, Blake and Mary Jo moved there as well, 90 minutes north on I-95, building a house right around the corner from them.
Blake ended up becoming a watch engineer at St. Lucie's nuclear power plant, just like Homer Simpson, a job he'd keep for over 30 years. Mary Jo was an elementary school teacher in St. Lucie School District, teaching first graders. And they attended St. Lucie Catholic Church, where Mary Jo would often give readings.
In 1987, they gave birth to their first son, Ryan, giving him the middle name Blake, a tradition in his family, to make the firstborn son's middle name that of the father's.
And 6 years after Ryan came Tyler. But right from the start, there were issues.
It was a difficult pregnancy, and doctors had to induce labor a month early, and Tyler was born weighing only 3 pounds and 10 ounces.
For over 3 weeks, baby Tyler was in an incubator in the hospital while his lungs developed.
Then at just 3 months old, he got the chickenpox, which is severely life-threatening for a baby, especially one already weak and frail.
Tyler recovered, but as he was getting ready for preschool, doctors discovered a hormone imbalance, and he had to be prescribed a thyroid medication.
By the time he started kindergarten, he was a big, roly-poly kid, and he became worried about his weight, very self-conscious over being labeled as fat. When he was 10, he mentioned this to a doctor, and the doctor told him he was just sturdy, which further exacerbated his anxiety, seeming to solidify the idea that he was overweight in his mind. Later, he'd develop eating disorders because of it.
He began accusing people of thinking he was fat, something that was probably brought on by the weight of his own parents. Blake had been really packing on the pounds, growing medically obese, and Mary Jo was very heavy as well now, so much so that she ended up having liposuction surgery.
Tyler was a morbid little kid, something that he would remain the rest of his life. When he went to the closed casket funeral of his great-grandmother, 5-year-old Tyler kept saying he wanted to see her body, wanted to see what a dead person looked like.
He attended Lincoln Park Academy, the, quote, premier college preparatory school out in Fort Pierce, an institution, quote, dedicated to character and citizenship education.
But though painfully shy, Tyler was a good student and a more or less obedient child. And he was affectionate with his parents, especially his mother, climbing into her lap to be held, even when he'd grown so big it was becoming awkward and weird. Relatives called him a mama's boy.
Both Tyler and Ryan were altar boys at the Catholic Church, though they'd both often try to skip church on Sundays, hide in their rooms and lock the doors. But that's where Mary Jo was always firm. They had to attend Mass.
Tyler was an awkward and wishy-washy kid. He would start to play sports, but then become incredibly discouraged, saying he wasn't good at it and quit.
But his parents would spare no expense for him. When he got into music and played drums and trumpet, Blake and Mary Jo hired him a private tutor.
Mary Jo worried she hadn't been able to bond with him enough when he was an infant, which caused her to spoil and overindulge him. And Blake was said to be extremely gentle and non-confrontational, and unable to discipline his son.
As he approached adolescence, he started getting acne and was given a prescription to Accutane, a controversial drug that would later be taken off the market after being linked to inflammatory bowel disease. It dried out the skin, but it also dried out the mouth. Tyler was obsessed with his physical appearance, felt he didn't look good, and his parents would do whatever he wanted. They got him braces and various prescriptions.
He complained about his height, saying he wasn't growing enough, which was weird because he was taller than most kids in his grade. But nevertheless, he was prescribed a growth hormone, which cost $3,000 a month. A huge expense for the middle-class working family.
But Mary Jo was adamant that her son get the treatment, saying he was short and was being teased because he was so short, though that absolutely was not true.
And because Tyler complained he was fat, he was given a prescription for levothyroxine, a thyroid hormone which comes with a warning that it could cause life-threatening toxicity.
It's just packed with drugs, man. He was very withdrawn. He had a lot of bouts of depression and a lot of anxiety.
When Tyler was 8, in 2003, he met Michael Mandel. Michael had just moved to the neighborhood, and he and Tyler became instant best friends, bonding over Pokemon trading cards, bike riding, and skateboarding. Tyler sleeping over his house the very first night.
As Michael would say, we had fun. He was always happy back then. Always happy.
They hung out at the mall and had Ryan drive them to the movies, rode around the neighborhood on their skateboards.
But Tyler could be really weird. When they were 10, Michael found him in the woods with a bungee cord wrapped around his neck, saying he was going to kill himself. Michael would say,
It seemed like it came out of nowhere. I don't know why he was saying that, but I'm pretty sure he was joking. He joked all the time.
But Tyler had clear self-esteem issues, constantly calling himself fat and ugly and stupid. Michael saying,
He said that quite often. It was always fat, ugly, stupid. I'd say something like, Tyler, I'm not gay or anything, but you're not ugly or stupid.
Tyler would ask Michael, really? Are you my friend? Are you really my friend?
Yeah, man, I'm your friend, really.
Another kid who was good friends with Tyler when he was young describes an incident saying, quote, yeah, I think he was like 10. His parents had pissed him off somehow, and he comes over to my house. He's like, dude, I'm going to kill my parents. I'm like, dude, man, don't do that. Don't sweat it. It's not worth it. Everybody's parents piss them off. Everybody's parents do these sorts of things. He's like, yeah, man, you're right. And starts laughing, and we start joking around. I never thought he'd actually do that. His parents, like, sure, they were assholes sometimes, but they were nice people.
Chapter 2. A Troubled Boy.
It was when Tyler became a tween, around 12, that he really started breaking bad and getting into trouble. He started stealing. He'd take money from his mom's purse, snag his father's debit card and withdraw $40 and put it back. When friends or relatives came over, he'd go through their purses and coat pockets.
He was vandalizing cars and property, breaking windows. He also really liked starting fires.
At one point, he and his best friend Michael dragged a couch into a clearing in the River Park Wildlife Preserve, doused it with gasoline, and lit it on fire.
They got caught, but were let off with a warning.
Tyler's brother Ryan would later describe him as a pathological liar, saying that even when he was caught red-handed doing something, he'd still deny it to the very end, often growing extremely emotional and angry, defending himself.
He began self-medicating, smoking weed, then eating ecstasy, which may have given him some psychological release from his anxiety. He also started selling weed to fund his drug habit.
His best friend Michael hated alcohol, as he had a drunk relative. So neither Tyler nor Mike drank very much, though as Tyler grew older, he would begin to drink more and more. But from the get-go, they both loved drugs.
Tyler claimed he could smoke 20 blunts in a row.
He loved Xanax, and they also smoked crack, which they called French fries, which is a new term to me. I never heard crack called that. I guess because one is never enough or something. I don't know. And what they called monkeys, which apparently was cocaine in a cigarette.
Jeez.
Florida.
He begged his parents for a car, and of course, even though money was tight, they bought him one. A gold Lincoln, which made him happy for a while. But that happiness faded.
He told his friends he'd bought the car for himself. Yeah, Tyler was developing a habit of painting his parents as the bad guys and making up lies about them to gain sympathy, saying his father beat him and that his mother was cruel, though there's really no evidence to support any of that at all. Quite the opposite, in fact. Friends, family, even his own brother, all say that they spoiled him rotten.
Even though he had his own car, he'd steal his dad's truck to joyride in, staying out all night and sneaking back in the morning, getting a thrill out of it. And he lied about everything, lies that were completely unnecessary.
Mary Jo's sister Kelly said she should call the police when Tyler stole their car or didn't come home. But Mary Jo is adamant that she did not want the police to get involved.
He tried to rob a drug dealer, and they smashed out the back windshield of his car, but he told his mom bullies had done it, and she completely believed him.
He skipped school constantly. It's like non-stop. And his parents didn't know what to do. He'd just leave school all the time. And his parents would punish him, they'd ground him, take away his phone, but nothing worked. They'd drive him to school, watch as he walked in the door, but then he'd just walk out the back door, or wait until after homeroom and then leave.
Michael thought he was crazy, telling him to stop skipping school if he didn't want to get grounded. But Tyler wouldn't stop. It was like a compulsion.
He failed the fall semester of 2010 and begged his parents to let him attend Indian River State College Adult Education School, what they called the Drop Back In Academy, designed for high school dropouts that wanted to get their degrees.
Finally, his parents caved and let him attend, but he showed up to class reeking of weed and stoned off his ass, and they kicked him out of the program. So he ended up going to Port St. Lucie High School.
He developed an eating disorder and quickly lost 50 pounds, started acting utterly bizarre, would just turn to his mother and ask her, "Do you hate me? You want me dead?"
He was angry all the time, would fly off the handle and just start screaming, saying he was going to kill himself. He told his friends his father punched him.
In June 2010, he hit a kid with his father's truck, injuring him, and the kid's family ended up suing them for $15,000. Tyler was scheduled to give a deposition in late August 2011, but by that time, he would be in jail, and his parents would be dead.
And then in late April 2011, 10 weeks before his infamous party, Tyler got into a fight at a friend's house. The cops showed up, and because he had previously been convicted of burglary, he was sentenced to a week in the county jail and 2 weeks of house arrest after that.
And as a punishment, his mother took his cell phone away, which he thought was grossly unfair. Oh, boo-hoo, poor kid.
But he still had his laptop, and his friend Isadora Gascho hit him up on Messenger, asking what was going on. Knowing his mother, who had his cell phone, might see the messages, he immediately told her,
"Don't text me about drugs."
"Why? What happened?"
My mom has my cell phone because I got arrested on Monday, and she's flipping shit. It just got out today.
Oh, shit.
Fucking shit. Sucked.
You bad kid.
It's a pirate's life for me.
Laughing my ass off.
I don't fucking associate with non-pirates.
What?
Okay, I'm done with all the nautical nonsense.
You're so silly, smiley face. What are you doing?
Nothing. Considering suicide.
Why?
Because I want to die, I guess. What other reasons are there?
Are you being serious?
Yeah, I do want to die sometimes.
Don't die. Smoke a bowl whenever you're down.
I used to. Now I drink a lot when I'm depressed. It fills the emptiness inside me.
You're quite a character.
Yeah, but all my smiles are fake.
He also messaged with his friend Mercedes about it all. Mercedes saying how it sucked that his mother took his phone. Tyler messaging her back.
She's a cunt, for sure. I might kill her.
OMG, no! Jail, or I mean prison, LOL.
Oh well. Heart emoji.
Chapter 3. New Horizons.
In May 2011, Tyler's older brother Ryan, now 24 years old, decided it was finally time to move on from his parents' home and join his girlfriend in North Carolina.
Blake and Mary Jo were sad to see him go and worried that Tyler might take it hard as he'd grown close to his brother. But Tyler didn't seem to care much.
On the day of the big move, Blake caravanned with Ryan, driving his truck packed with all of Ryan's stuff up to North Carolina, and Tyler tagged along, sleeping nearly the entire way. Watching his brother get situated in North Carolina, Tyler showed no emotions at all.
In June, Tyler came stumbling in the door as his mother would say, quote, smashed as fuck. She'd had enough. He was only 17 years old. She was at her wit's end and didn't know what to do with him. So she had him committed under Florida's Baker Act, which allows for temporary detention of up to 72 hours for individuals experiencing a mental health crisis.
They took him to a facility called New Horizons, a treatment center for people with emotional and mental health disorders. After the initial 72 hours, the center wanted to keep Tyler there, but he refused, demanding to go home. And his parents, always the pushovers, let him come back.
He was prescribed Celexa, a serotonin reuptake inhibitor used to treat major depression and anxiety disorder, and hydroxine pamoate, a sedative.
Then Tyler started at the Regia Mental Health Center, an intensive outpatient program, 3 hours a day, 3 hours a week. And Mary Jo began telling her friends that it was working. Tyler was coming home at night. He was pitching in around the house, doing chores. He was back to his old self, giving hugs, being affectionate, and talking. Actually talking, not just sullenly storming about around the house.
But though Tyler may have appeared happier and more well-adjusted to his mother, the truth was he was sinking further and further into violent fantasies.
He told his friend Danny that he'd bought a pickaxe from Walmart and was going to use it to kill his parents, claiming his father had punched him in the face after catching him smoking weed. Danny couldn't tell if Tyler was joking or not.
On Friday night, to celebrate the birthday of one of Tyler's young cousins, the whole family went out to dinner together at Longhorn Steaks. The grandparents, Mary Jo's sister, and her family, Blake and Tyler. Everything seemed perfectly normal.
His grandfather later said, quote, "I didn't see any indication there were any problems between Tyler and his parents."
Meanwhile, Tyler told someone later that at that dinner, all he could think about was how badly he wanted to murder his parents.
In 6 days, they were scheduled to have a family reunion in Pittsburgh, but that would never happen.
Chapter 4. Family Annihilation.
July 16th, 2011. At 9:40 a.m., Tyler began messaging his friend Matt Noble. Matt asking him,
Did you do it?
"No, but I'm gonna."
Bet?
"You really should."
Do it.
"Don't worry, I am. Then I'm having a party."
Yeah, party time.
At 11:25 a.m., he messaged his friend Antonio Ramirez, asking, "Sup, bro?"
Chillin', what you doing tonight?
"Trying to have a party at my crib."
Your parents ain't home?
"Nope. Well, they're leaving soon."
At 1:15 p.m., Tyler posted on his Facebook wall.
"Party at my crib tonight. Maybe."
Then he posted a YouTube link to the video Feel Lucky by rapper Lil Boozy.
Tyler then went out and picked up his friend Danny and had some older guy they knew buy them alcohol.
His best friend Michael was in trouble for trespassing, on probation, and had been sentenced to perform community service. So he was working on a house for Habitat for Humanity all day. When he finished, he went to pick up his girlfriend Morgan, but his car broke down. So Tyler went and picked the two of them up, all of them going to his place, claiming his parents were soon leaving for Orlando, and he was having a party that night.
As they sat around Tyler's house, Tyler telling Danny sob stories about how his parents weren't nice and refused to get him mental help, crazy, flat-out lies, Tyler's parents came pulling up in the driveway. And Tyler, completely panicked, flipped out, yelling at Michael, Morgan, and Danny to go, 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 go.
It was bizarre to Michael, who'd known Tyler's parents for over a decade and really liked them. But they all ran out the back door and jumped the back fence.
As Tyler's mother worked on the home computer in the den and his father shuffled around the house, Tyler ate 3 hits of ecstasy to pump himself up, listening to Lil Boozy's I Feel Lucky on repeat. At around 5 p.m., got a hammer from the garage, a 20-inch framing hammer with a claw end that extended straight out with no curve to it. He locked the family's black Labrador, Sophie, in his closet because he was afraid she would defend his parents. He then went and found their cell phones and hid them so they couldn't call for help.
As his mother, who dedicated her life to him from the moment he was born, scrimping and sacrificing so that he could have everything he ever wanted, from a car and a laptop to human growth hormones to make him taller, sat before her computer, oblivious. He crept up behind her, standing there staring at her for minute after minute after minute. Then he struck, taking the hammer and slamming the claw end down on the back of her head.
Blood exploded, pouring out, running down her face, drenching the computer keyboard. More blood than he'd ever expected. And she turned to him, asking,
"Why? Tyler, why?"
He struck her again, this time in the face, leaving a gaping wound from her hairline down to her left ear. As she collapsed, he hit her in the neck and back, over and over, 14 times, fracturing her spine, then in the chest, breaking 4 ribs which punctured her left lung, then again and again in the head, sending skull fragments and brain tissue across the room, splattering the walls and ceiling. The coroner later stating her skull had been pulverized and smashed like an egg.
When Blake heard his wife scream, he came running into the kitchen to help her, and Tyler said they looked each other dead in the eye, and his father just echoed his mother's question and said, "Why, Tyler? Why?"
Tyler answered, "Why the fuck not?" and began to attack his father with the hammer, screaming over and over as he swung, "Why the fuck not? Why the fuck not? Why the fuck not?"
As Tyler struck, Blake held up his hands to ward off the attack. Later, the autopsy would show the back of his hands were bruised, both humerus bones in his arms were broken, and his elbow was fractured.
He struck him in the left temple 3 times, then in the face, breaking his nose and leaving a laceration across his forehead. He pounded the right side of his head with the hammer, smashing his skull in and lacerating his brain. Both legs had bruises and cuts. The fibula of his left leg was shattered. 10 blows to his legs.
In all, it's estimated Tyler Hadley struck his father with the hammer over 65 times.
Blake was a very large man, 6'4" and over 300 pounds, and there's been much speculation about why he didn't overpower Tyler. Many theorizing that Tyler was able to strike him so hard in the head that he quickly knocked Blake out cold. But Tyler would later tell a fellow prison inmate named Tony, quote, "I knew they loved me because my dad didn't go after me. He just sat there and asked me, why?"
God, that's so sad. Then Tony told him, "Then why did you keep going? Like, if you realized suddenly that he loved you, if that hit you all of a sudden, why would you keep going?"
Well, I had to finish once I started.
After he was sure he'd beaten them to death, crushing their skulls, he wrapped their heads in towels and dragged them both to their bedroom, laying them face down on the floor beside each other and placing the hammer between them.
He then went about cleaning up, but there was so much blood, bits of brain, fragments of skull on the walls and ceiling that it was very difficult. He went at it for hours, but only managed to clean up the largest puddles of blood.
First, he threw everything that was evidence on top of his parents, bloody towels and cleaning supplies, blood-splattered books, broken dishes, shattered glass, mops, sponges, brooms. Then more and more random things. A coffee table, board games, family photos from the wall, Mary Jo's framed baby baptism dress, literally burying his parents beneath the broken relics of their lives.
It's so weird. Then, as Tyler himself would later state, quote, I went into my bedroom and I was covered in blood. Blood just everywhere. There was blood all over the place. And I laughed at myself in the mirror and then took a shower and went about my business of having a party.
Chapter 5, The Party.
After murdering his parents and trying to clean it up, Tyler took their ATM cards and withdrew $5,000. Then, at 8:15, he posted on Facebook, "Party at my house. Hit me up."
A friend named Ashley Hayes messaged, "Whoa, what if your parents come home?"
Tyler replied, "They won't. Trust me."
Tyler then went around picking up friends. First Jesse, then Shannon, then his best friend Michael.
At 10, people started showing up, but Tyler still had the house locked up and made them wait on the lawn. When he finally started letting people in, he seemed nice, affable, telling them to help themselves to the food in the refrigerator, have some beers, but stated to a few of them that he was going to prison for 60 years. He'd tell around a dozen people this. Also, randomly telling folks, "This is my house now."
By 11, the party was getting rowdy. At first, Tyler told people if they wanted to smoke, they had to do it outside. But when there were too many people in his front yard making too much racket, he told them they could come inside and smoke.
Soon it was turning into a madhouse. People were putting their cigarettes out on the rugs, spilling stuff, knocking over furniture, glasses were shattering. Two guys got into a fist fight over a bag of weed. All the while, Tyler just sat in his room smoking pot. When a friend came in and told him the house was getting trashed, he just shrugged his shoulders.
Around 11:30, a guy named Mike Young, a jock, came to the party with a bunch of his friends, all the popular kids, bringing some cheerleaders along in tow. These people didn't even really know who Tyler was. Tyler mostly hung out with the druggies, burnouts, and misfits.
Mike Young would later say that as soon as Tyler opened the door, he could tell he was rolling hard on X. His pupils big as saucers, grinding his teeth, rubbing his hands together and clenching his hands into fists.
He also said that when he was sitting on the couch, a skater kid came up to him and said, "I smell dead people."
And he was like, "What?"
And the kid just said, "I don't know, maybe it's just all the cigarettes."
And another kid randomly blurted out, "Oh, he killed his parents," which was the so-called joke he'd been making in Messenger for weeks at this point. And then the kid just laughed and said, "I'm just kidding."
Others would later say that the house definitely smelled bad, like dirty laundry or rotten garbage.
Meanwhile, folks are playing beer pong on the kitchen table, which was situated right next to the family computer. And they were all playing music on the computer on YouTube. And they all noticed how disgusting the computer station was, coated in brown, sticky stuff. The keyboard drenched in it. Someone saying it must be spilled soda.
Others noticed a dark stain leading down the hallway, and every time somebody would go near his parents' door, Tyler would start shouting,
Hey, get away from that door. Get out of the hallway. I want people out of that hallway."
By midnight, there were over 100 kids raging at this party. Barely room to walk. The place was packed. and they ran out of beer, so Tyler asked a guy who was 21 and his girlfriend to take him to the liquor store.
There's always that one weird older guy at the high school party. What's up with that? When the guy went to the store, his girlfriend stayed in the car with Tyler, and while they were waiting, Tyler told her that his father had recently died.
This girl and Tyler didn't know each other at all, and she told him, that sucks, I'm so sorry. Later, when she found out the truth, that he'd murdered his father with a hammer, she was horrified.
Yeah, I'm a heartbreaker. 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 Do it for the fun of it. Yeah, I'm a heartbreaker. A cold-blooded killer. Do it for the fun of it. Wanna be a king slayer. Give me my crown.
When they got back to the house, the kids at the party were now playing water pong because they'd run out of beer. So with beer in tow, they all started playing beer pong again. And at one point, when the ball bounced onto the ground, it rolled under the table where it got stuck in sticky brown stuff. And they just picked it up, wiped it off on the tablecloth, and kept playing.
Yes, they were playing beer pong with the ball covered in human blood.
So fucking nasty, dude. Ugh.
Boy, you gotta work for it. Yeah, I'm a heartbreaker. Do it for the fun of it. Yeah, I'm a heartbreaker. A cold-blooded killer. Do it for the fun of it.
Tyler walked about the party, dressed like Tom Cruise in Risky Business. Sometimes you gotta say, what the fuck? And Tyler was saying bizarre things. Like, this is my house. This isn't even their house anymore. That's right. They're on vacation. They moved. They're at work.
A kid named Ricardo, who'd never met Tyler before, went up to him saying, "Hey, thanks for having us over. Fun party, thanks for the beer."
And Tyler responded, I just wanted to do something fun before I left.
Where are you going?
I'm gonna kill myself.
Why would you do that?
'Cause I did something really bad.
What'd you do? It can't be that bad.
Tyler just wandered away, leaving the guy stunned, wondering if he was joking.
Around 2 o'clock in the morning, Tyler confided to his best friend Michael Mandel what he'd done, telling him to look for the signs the others had missed. The bloody footprints, splatters on the wall and ceiling. And the two would pose for that infamous selfie that's one of the first things that comes up if you Google the case.
Michael stuck around the party for a while afterwards, telling his friend Jesse and showing him the horror in the parents' bedroom, the mound of family artifacts with Blake's leg emerging out of it, covered in blood. And Jesse told his girlfriend, who would later that night call 911.
Around 3 in the morning, a neighbor, Rayanne Wallace, who'd later say she liked the family and that Tyler was always polite and respectful, called the cops and complained about the noise.
Folks were leaving in droves at this point, and police pulled up and went and told Tyler to quiet it down. Tyler apologized to them about the noise, and they left. And a lot has been made about these cops not doing more, not demanding to come inside to search the house. But, it was just a noise complaint. They didn't have a warrant. They probably broke up parties all the time. That there were 2 dead bodies in the house certainly never occurred to them.
At around 4, Mike left, hiding the Percocets Tyler said he was going to use to kill himself in a closet and sneaking out. When Tyler noticed he was gone, he immediately called him and asked where he was.
Mike was like, dude, it's 4:30 in the morning. I'm going to bed. And Tyler was like, cool. I'm having another party tomorrow. You coming? And Mike told him, sure, I'll be there. Tyler then posted on his Facebook wall, party at my house again. Hit me up.
But instead of going to bed, Mike called a Crime Stoppers hotline and reported all he'd seen at the House of Horror and the party from hell.
This time, when the cops showed up at 371 Northeast Grander Avenue, they weren't that understanding and cool. They handcuffed Tyler, busted open the bedroom door, and found the corpses of his parents, where he'd buried them beneath the artifacts of their lives and deaths, the bloody towels and mops, coffee table, family portraits, armfuls and armfuls of books, and the framed dress Mary Jo wore as an infant when she was baptized.
Chapter 6. After Party.
Tyler was taken to jail and put on suicide watch, fed varying combinations of psychiatric drugs while doctors monitored him, searching for the right mix.
Tyler's brother Ryan was next of kin to his murdered parents, and because Tyler was only 17, Ryan also became legal guardian of their killer.
Such a surreal combination.
Ryan was also the go-to person for police and prosecutors as the trial was prepared, a process which he was told could take up to 3 years. He says he cried and cried until there were no more tears left within him.
He was assigned a victim advocate and given financial help paying for his parents' funeral because they were homicide victims.
Over 1,000 people showed up for the funeral and memorial. The neighbor who called the cops on Tyler's party that night talked to Ryan at the service. Ryan told the neighbor he was going to St. Lucie County Prison in Fort Pierce that night to visit his brother, saying, "It's what my parents would want me to do. They wouldn't want me to abandon him. I don't know what I'm going to say. I'm probably just going to sit there and cry."
Ryan visited his brother several times while he awaited trial. Utterly strange and surreal visits. Tyler acting like everything was normal, asking what the rest of the family was up to, telling him to say he said hi to his grandparents and sent them his love, then asking him what the new roller coasters at Busch Gardens Amusement Park were like.
In September, Ryan had to file to make sure Tyler couldn't petition to inherit anything from his parents' estate, which wasn't much. The house went into foreclosure, and Ryan just let the bank take it.
Some of his family were supportive of Tyler, if that's the right word, and they would write to him, his grandmother writing him the most.
Letters had to be in the form of postcards to ensure nothing was smuggled, and his grandmother would sometimes write him several postcards in a single day, telling him to trust his attorneys and not watch the news, often quoting scripture, and always closing them, "We love you. God bless you, Grandma and Grandpa."
But not all the letters were kind. His uncle Mike, Blake's brother, wrote a postcard with a photograph of his mother on it, saying, "It is October 4th, 2011. Do you know what today would have been? Your mom's 48th birthday. It is a very sad day for us, as we will never be able to wish her a happy birthday again. If you are going through hell, keep going."
Does that mean, if you're going through hell, keep going, is that like nice or mean?
Mean, I think. I think it's meant to like keep going through hell. I hope you keep going through hell. That's the feeling I got from it.
Yeah. It's just that there's a saying, like, if you're going through hell, keep on going. You might get out before the devil knows you're there. Like, keep going and you'll get to the other side. It's kind of weird. Kids from the party that night began posting about it on social media, which caused a mild uproar as their statements seemed incredibly cold and callous.
One girl said, quote,
"He was under a lot of pressure and his parents would never let him be himself. And honestly, I think they just caused everything that just happened. His parents always expected him to be someone else that he wasn't. And that's not right. Anything Tyler would do, he'd be wrong for it. He just broke, honestly, and he got crazy because of it. If you have that much hate for somebody, then you actually would do something like that.
That's some fucked up shit right there. Somebody else said, we all make mistakes when we're on drugs. I mean, yeah, I've made mistakes on drugs. I never crushed my parents' head with a fucking hammer.
Yeah, I've made lots of mistakes on drugs. Nothing like that. One of the cheerleaders who'd shown up at the party said, I wasn't upset when I heard. I wasn't scared or disgusted. It's not like I knew him personally. Like,
one of his friends, I know, right? Cheerleaders, what are you going to do? One of his friends said, wow, I just went to the party of a lifetime. It's messed up what he did. But 20 years from now, I'll be able to say I was there. I hate Port St. Lucie, but that's kind of cool.
Tyler pleaded no contest to 2 counts of first-degree murder, avoiding a trial.
While awaiting sentencing, he acted like a big shot in the jail, signing autographs saying, it's hammer time, and telling inmates what a great party it was and how he wished they could have been there.
But in December 2011, he got the shit kicked out of him. It was the birthday of one of the inmates, and prisoners will take a bunch of items from commissary. Twinkies, cupcakes, sticky buns, and combine them, kind of mush them together to make a birthday cake. Well, Tyler volunteered to make the cake, but instead just ate all the stuff. Such an asshole. So the guy beat the hell out of him.
On March 21st, 2014, Tyler Hadley was sentenced to 2 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole.
But in April of 2016, the conviction was overturned as the Supreme Court had made new rulings on how juvenile murderers were to be sentenced. But in December of 2018, he was resentenced to the same consecutive life sentences without parole. So nothing changed at all.
Blake's brother Michael said about this, quote, I feel like I've been through another funeral and I'm tired of these funerals.
In April 2015, the house where the infamous party was held was demolished.
And today, Tyler Hadley is imprisoned at Liberty Correctional Institution, where he greets new inmates saying, you know who I am? I'm Hammer Boy.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we leave you. That was the story of Tyler Hadley, the teenager who murdered his parents so he could throw a party. Thank you so much for listening.
And do you have a story you'd like us to cover? Let us know at murdercoasterpodcast@gmail.com. That's murdercoasterpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.